Here's one that a lot of people were interested in this week, especially in comparison or contrast to the Helena Taylor Bayonetta 3 incident that we talked about for the last two podcasts, where she came out and gave some very specific information that was like the lawyer speak, technically correct, but totally not the entirety of the reality of the situation kind of thing in her video, and then that whole wave played out, so everyone knows how that went. So this is kind of the opposite of that, where she gave a very little bit of information that was then investigated to be discovered to be a lot more information that she was leaving out that would have gained a lot more or a lot less traction if she had been honest about the situation when she released it. This is the opposite of that. So this is about Doom Eternal specifically. Which was a pretty fucking good video game. It specifically had pretty fucking incredible music. And that pretty fucking incredible music was brought to you by one Mr. Mick Gordon, who laid out a hefty thread of receipts to back up a great example of a truly awful freelance artist's experience with video game companies. So this guy has never worked as like an on-hand employee. He's always been freelance. He's contractual. He mentions in this article he wrote for Medium that nothing is ever, and this is smart and more people should do this, nothing happens without a contract. Everything is on paper. Everything is signed off for. Nothing is message me on email and be like, oh yeah, I'll totally do that. No, you want to add that? New piece of paper, new signature, everything. So this man is loaded to bear with about as many actual receipts as you could possibly hope for to defend himself, which is good because the executive producer of the game, Marty Stratton, posted an open letter on Reddit. I think it was earlier this year. I think it might have been like as far back as May. An open letter on Reddit, for whatever reason, detailing how the creation of Doom Eternal's soundtrack was a nightmare. Mick Gordon brought the receipts for this to shut this down because he specifically called out Mick Gordon in this open letter for whatever fucking reason. And of course, being the guy who made all the music, even if he didn't mention his name, kind of obvious who he was talking about at the time. Was Mick Gordon. So, in the midst of all this, the highlights for this is that the open letter is posted. Mick Gordon smartly goes away, doesn't say anything. Probably lawyers up, looks at everything. Internally, Mick said, for months, he asked to bring this to closure privately between the two, to settle whatever the fuck it was that this guy was going on about with this open letter on Reddit. He refused over and over and over again and continued to perpetuate this story that he put out there. Then he said that Stratton also offered him 6 figures after a while to go away and don't talk about it. So again, this is about as opposite as that Helena Taylor situation you could possibly get. But he was offered all this money. 6 figures is no joke. That's a lot of dollars to not talk about this. And after all these months, and finally, clearly with legal counsel, because this is a hard thing to dance around, decided that, as he said, the truth was more important than the money because this hurt his professional reputation amongst the community. Clearly. If somebody comes out as an executive producer for something like Doom and says it was a nightmare to do the soundtrack, and you're the soundtrack guy, that might be a problem when you're looking to go get more work in the future. And so he's decided that for him, it's better if he comes out and clears his name than just taking this six-figure deal to shut up and let Stratton, have his open letter on Reddit. And so as such, he goes on Medium, which is a website, if people are in the gaming sphere, they might not know about it, but Medium is like a tech blog place where people can go and write long-form content, and it's kind of produced like almost like blogs, but almost anyone can go there and write something on Medium for it. So he wrote this, and this is when I say he brought the receipts, Mr. Black, Medium estimates at the top of all the articles how long it would take you to read it. I think I didn't link it. I was going to link it so you could see just how lengthy this bitch is. 60 minutes is this read. An hour of straight reading for the average person to get through this carefully laid out, and it is immaculate. This man wrote a thesis. It's not like he went and just ran like at night and just like fucking slammed all this shit on a keyboard and pressed enter. This thing is immaculate. 60 minutes worth of text. outlining everything. So many receipts as to why Stratton was lying through his teeth about literally everything that he brought up was bullshit, which is probably why he offered him 6 figures to not open his mouth and talk about it publicly. So he posted this whole thing, and now obviously Stratton, a bit of a clusterfuck, so to speak. I haven't personally seen if there's been any more development of this as to like what is going to happen with Stratton or what is happening here with Mr. Mick Gordon. But needless to say, unlike the Helena Taylor situation, when people started reading this, they were like, okay, we're actually safe to defend Mick this time, because last time we defended Helena, and then as it turns out, we got burned to shit for defending Helena because she was lying the whole fucking time. And well, not lying, but like technically saying things. Whereas this guy brought a tome, and it is emails, and it is contracts, and it is phone calls, and it is everything. And so lots of people coming to his defense. But it is if you want to read it, you can go and search it out. Not hard to find. One of the most talked about things in the gaming sphere this week. And very interesting. If you are interested in this stuff where you want to know what it's like, for example, even if you're not interested in this specific issue, what it does give you a glimpse into is just how chaotic AAA gaming development is, and just how many moving parts are constantly going, and how things can derail, and timelines constantly moving, and everyone is trying to like meet together and make all of this work. And some people from the outside look at AAA and go, okay, so they just take like, $500 million, throw it at a wall, and God of War Ragnarok comes out the other side. And that's not at all how any of that goes. And Sony Santa Monica is probably like one of the best examples of a well-oiled machine. So if you like put that in the hands of like, let's say Bethesda, who I don't know if we would call it a well-oiled machine most of the days of the week, you might see why it would be a more of an average look into the industry as a whole. Very, very interesting read indeed. And definitely an hour. So like grab a coffee and whatever else. And if you're a slower reader, break that shit up into multiple sections, because you're going to be there for a long fucking time. But yeah, just a good example of what it's like as a freelance worker in the video game industry. And I'm sure if you extrapolated this and applied it to the movies industry, if you're doing voiceover or soundtracks and things of that nature, it's probably similar. Timelines are insane. People keep asking you to change things. You probably want to make sure that you're getting people to sign 1,000 pieces of paper if they are asking you for this stuff, because I'm sure, like anyone, if they can get away with just asking you for it and not having another piece of paper, clearly they're just going to ask you for it so that they don't have to, pay you more money or some other bullshit down the line. So definitely an interesting read for that indeed.